this thing right here about purpose and being purposeful, I'm always excited about that. And the reason why I'm always excited about that is because, like, so many times people say they want it, right? And our audio and our video many times does not match. We always talk about what we want. I want to get it. I want more. I want this. I want that. I want that. But you know, if your audio and your video don't match, we're gonna always have some challenges. And the only place that success comes before work is in the dictionary. And so we say we want it, but we're not pursuing this thing with purpose. And a lot of times we really don't understand what our purpose is personally. And then that causes the conflict with what our purpose is in our business, because they're inextricably tied. So many times we don't really explore it the right way. So what we're going to talk about this afternoon, and this is Dialogue Gang, and we're going to talk about 10 different places. We're going to talk about being purposeful, and then we're going to talk about being purposeful in your business, because so many times we just don't unpack it, that the purpose of our life and the purpose of our vision, again, is inextricably tied. We only think of it as one way or the other way, and it's really, really, really not. And we're going to unpack that a little bit. So I want you guys, while we're going through this, I want you to put in your thinking cap. I want you to be engaged. This is going to require some dialogue between us. So let's not keep this on a one-way street. Don't let me and Mr. Holiday have our own conversation, you know, because well, I can see we get into it. We'll be going for 2 hours, and y'all be sitting there talking about, I thought this was for everybody. They over here having a bromance or something. But at the end of the day, it's really about us understanding and being able to just tap into that little bit of purpose. Is this like designed to, you know, change your life for the rest of your life? Absolutely. Is this designed to help you do a 180-degree turn? No, it is not. You know, if you change 1 degree every day, at the end of the day, you've made at the end of the year, you made a 365-degree turn, which is, you made a full circle. You've changed the total course of where you are, and you circle back for another loop around the sun. At the end of the day, this is about just making small incremental steps and thinking about small changes of how you relate to your purpose and being purposeful, and just how we can help. That's what this is about. How can we help? Look at this. What is that? Look at this forest. Tell me what you see. Somebody tell me what you see. Just look at
trees.
Look at
Tranquility.
Say it again.
Tranquility, just peace.
Peace, tranquility.
Trees, Emerick.
Say it again, Roderick.
I see trees and people and a pathway.
Okay. What else do you see?
I see a face on one of the trees, to be honest with you.
Okay, cool. Okay. This is not a psychology test, by the way. What else do you guys see? Anybody else see anything different?
There's an arch, like lines on top of the image, like straight lines, and then you see an arch right there, like in the middle.
Yeah. Okay. What else do you see?
I see the grid pattern. I also see some of the trees are tall, even though none of them have leaves. I see some of them are tall, but some of them are like flat, like they're cut off.
Right. What's the purpose of these trees? What do you believe the purpose of these trees on this path are?
Maybe it could possibly be guidance to somewhere,
Okay.
like a map.
Okay. What else?
Trees, they provide us with clean air, and in life they're needed.
Okay.
I don't know.
I'm getting ready to hit y'all with something. You ready for this?
Okay.
All right. I don't know what the purpose of the trees are. I don't even know what the purpose of the picture is. At the end of the day, we don't know what any purpose of anything is for anybody, anything on this earth, except the things that pertain to us. Does that make sense? So everybody's trying to interpret what somebody else's purpose is, what this picture's purpose is. What's the purpose? Does it really matter to you? It doesn't really matter to you what their purpose is. What matters to you is what is your purpose. So let's focus on us and our purpose and stop worrying about everybody else's purpose. So forget the purpose of these trees. Why are you here? Why are you who you are? And so we can sit here, or we can literally sit here all day and talk about what we believe the purpose of this pitch is. Does it matter? Not one bit. The only thing that matters is what's your purpose and why are you here? So what we're going to talk about, finding purpose is the key to living your best life. That's what we're going to talk about. And so in that space, finding your purpose is more than it's just more than a cliche or a dream that you'll never fulfill. It's actually a tool for a better, happier life. That, you know, a lot of people espouse that. A lot of people try to get to that point. However, they don't get to that point. They just don't. What happens, only around 25% of American adults cited having a clear purpose about what makes their life meaningful. And according to one analysis from the New York Times, 40% claim neutrality in their subject or say they don't. And so what that really means is this: most of us don't even know what our purpose is. We just don't. We're walking through life aimlessly. We know we want to get somewhere. We know we want to do something. We don't really have a big why. We don't really have a huge purpose. And what happens is, and I'm only speaking for myself now. I might be speaking for Mr. Holiday, but I'm speaking for myself here, right? My purpose was get the hell out of West Baltimore and live a better life than I lived as a kid, and to make sure that my children didn't have to go through what I went through. And let me make this clear. What I went through really wasn't really bad. It just wasn't really good. Does that make sense? We were happy. And, you know, it's kind of interesting. We were the happiest kid, and we didn't even know we were poor. You get what I'm saying? We were just happy.
Yeah, with nothing.
With nothing. However, once you get a little taste of something, you understand that money is not everything, but next to air is a close second, right? If you don't believe me, try living without it. On the other end, money is not the end all be all. Money is the route to provide you with options. And so your purpose in that place just, it shapes and forms you. And like I said, my purpose was I tried to move back to West Baltimore. I don't tell y'all no lie, I really did. And I lived there for about 30 days. I said, hell with this. This is crazy. I ain't doing this. I thought I was going back to the community and I'm just going to be, I made it out. I'm going back. I couldn't do it. I'm just telling you, I'm being frank with you. Now I can go back and I can donate. I go back. I can give time. I can go back. I have evolved past that place and where I see myself and where I see my kids. So my purpose was to make sure that I did not have to be in that environment and my kids didn't have to be in that environment. And that became a purpose. And I just immersed myself into that purpose. And so we all do it one way or another, right? And we all was that really my purpose? That was not my purpose. Let me make that clear, right? That was my motivator. That wasn't my purpose. But I thought that was my purpose. So we have to be careful to make sure that we don't confuse our motivator for our purpose. Just food for thought. Anybody want to comment on that one? Okay, you got to be clear about that. So in the 2010 study, an applied psychology found that individuals with a high level of eudaimonic well-being, which involves having a sense of purpose along with a sense of control and a feeling like, what do you do and it's worthwhile, they tend to live longer. So think about that for a second, right? And I'm going to tell you guys, I'm being a little transparent, right? I think about that, and I believe I believe my mom is that way. I believe what keeps my mom going is that I have an older brother who's sick. He's not well. He's well, but he's not well. And my mom feels like she's got to rescue everybody. She got to take care of everybody. And I kid you not, I believe if my brother was in great health, my mom would be sick. Do y'all get what I'm saying? And so at this point in her life at 84, her purpose is to make sure she takes care of everybody else. And I'm sitting there and saying, well, who's going to take care of you? And she won't let anybody take care of her. So her purpose at this point in her life is to take care of everybody else. And I believe that keeps her going at 84 years old. Because I'm just, you again, using an example, I was at her house, and if you have an older parent, you know, they collect some things, right? So she has collected a lot of things in her life. Y'all get my drift? She has collected a lot of things. So I'm helping her like remove her collection of things. And I'm sitting here big and brawny, and she's picking up boxes, moving boxes. Hey, I'm here. I'll take care of that for you. You don't touch another box. She looks at me and say, I'm not helpless. I can do for myself, and picked up 3 more boxes. And I'm sitting like, oh my gracious, what are we going to do? This woman is going to try to save the world. But again, that's her purpose. That keeps her going. And I can't fight it. But again, you know, what's your purpose? What's your purpose? Is your purpose bigger than you? And so some of the things that we have to start thinking about in our purpose, one of the things that they talk about in this particular setting is, you know, donate time, donate money, or donate your talent, right? And so when we start looking for our purpose, the purpose is usually outside of you. It's altruistic. And so researchers at Florida State have found some other things too. And Stanford, they found that happiness and meaningfulness overlap. but they're different. Happiness is linked to being a taker before a giver, whereas meaningfulness went more with being a giver than a taker. And so, you know, it's one of those things where, you know, are you happy? Or are you living a meaningful life? And so that's why they say money can't buy you happiness, right? Meaningfulness will ultimately get you to happiness. Does that make sense? Meaningfulness will also, because money, money and money will get you happy, will buy you happiness for that moment, right? But your sense of value, your sense of worth comes from meaningfulness, things that really mean something to you. And it's really, we talk about that altruistic behavior that comes from giving to somebody else. So in that space, your purpose is really outside of you. Your purpose is really not about you. It's about, are you volunteering in a nonprofit organization? Are you donating your time? Are you donating your money? Are you donating your talent? For me, I'm a member of 100 Black Men of Prince George's County, and I get huge satisfaction out of donating back to the kids and mentoring kids and making sure that these kids have something else to look at other than what their community provides them. Does that make sense? So we got to find this place of purpose in our life that's outside of us and who we are. Fair enough? This is comment time. Anybody want to share? What do you guys do? Anybody want to share something that they do that's purposeful for them outside of themselves? Is this not about you? It's about being purposeful, maybe in the community, being purposeful, maybe in church. What else does anybody else do to be purposeful? Or what gives you a sense of purpose in your life?
I'll share something.
Go ahead.
Oh, Mr. Holiday, you could go if you want.
No, ladies first.
Thank you. So one thing that brings me purpose is when I was in college, I volunteered for a group called the Global Brigades. So we used to travel to other countries and help them. So to this day, I have a good relationship still with Rutgers University and some of the alumni there. And
Right.
I still donate like soaps and shampoos and little school supplies to send to the different communities that they go to in these Central American countries. So that was like the best experience that I did growing up as a teenager and as a young adult. And I have not lost touch with that. So to me, it just makes me feel better to give back to countries that my family actually grew up in, and to see families how they are now. And they're so happy with the littlest things, like just a pencil and a notebook, and these kids are like lighting up with joy.
Cool. I like that.
Okay. I have worked with kids in various settings for probably 20 years. And that's just, and the kids that I target is a special group. Because I looked at how kids get helped. And I said, can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead.
Oh, okay. I said there's a group of kids at the top that get pushed and they get praised because they have the high grades. And then a lot of attention and programs go to the prevention of the kids that are borderline about to drop out. But
Right.
nobody thinks about those 2.8 kids, 2.7 kids that with the right encouragement and the right tutelage could become the A student. So those are the kids, and it's just a rewarding feeling meeting somebody that was a C student, and just simply by instilling in them that they can be better and giving them the tools and showing them how to be better,
Right.
and then watching them graduate, summa cum laude, and things like that. It's just that right there just makes it all worth it. I'm a Leo. We criers. I cry all the time.
Okay, cool. Real
Every
men cry.
graduation.
Real men cry, right, Chris? Hey, Corey.
That was a low blow,
Hi.
Emerick. That was a low blow, bro.
I also volunteer. The two previous stories are really awesome. I just do small volunteering within my neighborhood. I collect a lot of clothes that I give to homeless people within my neighborhood that I
Okay.
just see on the street and things like that. And then there's also a few other organizations that's on the board of a few nonprofits. But what I really find joy is giving on the grassroots level
Okay, cool.
in my neighborhood.
Okay, Corey, I got to do a timeout for you. You said what you do is small. Really? Anytime we take our time to give to someone else, that's a big deal. It really is, because it may be small in nature to maybe what other people might do. However, it's big in nature to the people who you're giving your time to.
Okay, thank
So
you.
it's not that it's small. It's just a function of where you spend your time, and it's huge because how many people aren't willing to give their time. So we have, again, we're walking in our purpose. Remember the forest remember the trees we looked at? We don't care what the purpose of the trees are. What's your purpose? Be on your purpose. Don't worry about what somebody else's purpose is, because that's what God has for them. Let's do our thing. The second
And I'm
one.
sorry, Emerick, before you go
go
on,
ahead.
Corey I want to introduce Corey. That's my mentor, my sponsor in KW.
Okay.
And she's the procuring cause for bringing me to KW. And then I
Okay.
told her to come here this week.
Oh, okay. So share the love. Share the love.
That's right.
Thanks,
you.
Corey. Welcome, Corey. But, listen to feedback. Feedback is the breakfast of champions. And so, and when we're talking about when we have this conversation about feedback, right? It can be hard to recognize the things that you feel passionate about sometimes, and again, we don't really, again, like when you were saying, Corey, it was small, right? To you, it may be small. The feedback that I gave you about it not being small, maybe that encouraged you a different way, that what you're doing may not be that small. And it's that simple feedback that we get from others that just helps us just alter our thinking. It doesn't have to alter our thinking 50 degrees, just 1 degree, right? And it's kind of I want you guys to relate to this. So many times we try to change things in chunks and big bites. I want you to wrap your brain around this. I'm gonna do an analogy for Corey and Holiday, because they're on the West Coast, right? And if you leave the port of Los Angeles, and you're on your way to Japan. Japan is 75 degrees north, right? So if you go 75 degrees north, you'll get to Japan. What happens if you set your compass to 73 degrees north? Now, it don't seem like that 2 degrees is that much. But if you take 2 degrees and you multiply it by 4,000 miles, right? 5,000 miles, by the time you're that 2 degrees off at 5,000 miles, you're going to end up in China. You get what I'm saying? So that 2 degrees matters. So we just have to focus on just being that 2 degrees different. And over time, that 2 degrees difference will drastically change who we are and who we are becoming. So it's just, again, that little feedback, it's only a 2 degree change, compounded, it changes your world, right? And so the fact is other people might be able to give you some insight that you just never thought about, right? And there's a good chance you're already displaying a passion and purpose that's around you. You just have to have that other push. And so feedback is so important. And we have to understand that in our purpose, we have to define our purpose, and then we have to talk out our purpose with other people, because other people who we trust. Let me make that clear. Other people who we love, admire, and trust, and they're going to give us genuine good feedback. That's what we do. And the feedback that you're seeking a feedback from people who will tell you that the baby is ugly. You know, everybody says, oh, all babies are cute. No, they're not. You put that nice, pretty, ruffly dress on them. You know, you put the nice pink dress on them. The baby's still ugly. And you just got to have that friend sometimes that's going to tell you the baby ugly. In the same way that they're going to tell you, you know, you probably should redefine your purpose because it's not resonating. It makes you think differently. Again, feedback.
You ain't right, Emerick. You ain't right.
Say it
All
again.
babies are beautiful.
The process of them coming is beautiful, but I got 7 children, man. Trust me. Every last one of them come out, I just be like, they look like little aliens.
Keep it real. Surround yourself with positive people, right? That's huge. And we underestimate that because energy begets energy. The people you surround yourself with is something special. It's something special because if you're surrounded by people who are making positive change, you draw from that inspiration, you draw from that energy. If you've ever been in an unfortunate situation, and in that unfortunate situation, if people talk about other unfortunate situations while you're in your unfortunate situation, it creates a process or thought process of despair, right? It is not encouraging. When you're going through your dark spot, your darkest moment, every piece of positive information gives you a different perspective on things typically, and just provides a little crack of light for you. You know, when we talk about this, about positive people, negative, I think Martin Luther King said it, light is the only thing that can drive out darkness. Darkness cannot drive out darkness. And it's the same thing with positivity. Positivity brings more positivity. Negativity brings in more negativity. And sometimes, and again, we can rise above the negative comments, but let's be real. It typically does not propel us the best way. And some people say, well, I'm inspired by my haters. Hell, well, you might be around the wrong people. You should be inspired by the people who bring you positive encouragement, not by the people who bring you negative. You know, and again, I said this earlier, you know, we have to be careful. You know, there's some things that encourage us in one way, and there's some things that drive us to purposeful, and that positive place drives us to that purposeful. On the other hand, if you're around people, you know, that negative energy, we talk about that, the way that it drags on you, it carries you. You like carrying somebody on your back. It's like carrying an extra human on your back. So again, keep those positive people around you, particularly when you're pursuing your purpose, when you're pursuing your passion. Keep the people in your corner. Now, just remember, I want you to remember this. Everybody that wishes you well is not a well-wisher. You get that? Everybody that wishes you well is not a well-wisher. So keep those positive people in your corner. Start conversations with new people. I know it sounds like a little different because we talked about, you know, feedback. So what kind of feedback are you getting? When you start conversations with new people, and even though you're starting up a conversation with strangers, it feels awkward. You know, first you're talking to people outside your immediate circle. And what happens is it opens up your eyes, because I want you to just remember, when you talk to the same people over and over again, most people only use about 100 words in their diction out of the vocabulary, right? And that's the reason why, if you have a significant other, your friends, your family, you know what they're going to say before they say it, right? And you just think y'all in tune. Oh, we in tune. I know what they're going to say before they say it. I knew you were going to say that. You know what they're going to say because you've been talking to them for 25 years and they use the same 100 words in their vocabulary. So you can predict what word is coming out their mouth next because you've been listening to them for what? 25 years. So what happens when we talk to new people? New people give us a new conversation. New people give us a new perspective of looking at things. New people, right? They stimulate our brain to think different because their language, their syntax, their language patterns and their syntax changes, which causes you to process information different. That's the reason why sometimes you hear people say, well, I said this is a ladies thing. Ladies, y'all ready for this? You know, you ever talk to your man and said, and then said, he said, you said, well, I said that. And why, when I said it, you didn't hear what I said, but when they said it, it made sense to you, right? You've been through that situation before? Because that different syntax, that different language pattern stimulates a different thought and forces the person to look at things different because they've been talking to you so long, they knew what you were going to say pretty much before you said it. And it's not the same inspiration. However, talking to that other person gives them a different thought process. You get it? And so when you talk to different people, you might discover new activities in different ways, different places to visit. And again, it's just stimulating when we start talking about where's our purpose and we bring somebody different into the picture. And that's why it's so important that in our lives, we have varying degrees of friendships, and we have different people from different walks of life in our life because they bring a different perspective to our life. And that's what, that again, driving your purpose, that's really important. So anybody want to unpack that one, help unpack that one? We talk about strangers and talking to strangers and how strangers can help you see things that the people in your life every day can't help you see. Look, y'all not giving me no feedback. Kimberly, you ain't giving me no feedback, Kimberly. You over there smiling, but you ain't giving me no feedback. I can't hear you.
No, I totally agree with you. Hearing the same thing, and I just can't remember who I was talking to about it the other day, but yeah, my girlfriend has suggested for me to go to a certain store to go get some furniture. And my daughter had already suggested that to me. And I think I want to say she suggested it to me maybe just a couple weeks before. But when she said it, I kind of like just brushed it off. I'm like, I'm not going there. And then when my friend said it, it was totally different because I know the type of person she is. She's going to buy higher quality things. And it was like coming from her. It was totally different.
The fresh perspective.
Mm-hmm.
And again, when we start talking about our purpose, we have to just find different people to talk to make sure we can bounce our ideas off, because at the end of the day, it's about us understanding who we are and what we have to get out of life to be that whole person just in life. Discover what you love to do. How many of us know what we absolutely love to do? Let's be real. If you had to think about it, and this is a little bit of writing in this exercise here, so I hope you guys get a pen out. You don't have to get it out. I just want you to just wrap your brain around this. Consider what types of skills, talents, and passions you bring to the table. Then brainstorm how you might turn your passion into something meaningful for you. Consider what types of skills, talents, and passions you bring to the table. Then brainstorm how you might turn your passion into something meaningful for you. And so, I want to park here for a second, because I'm looking through the faces, and some of the faces I can't see. Maybe Tawana Boone, she might be there. She might not be there yet. Susanna might not be there yet. It's probably a couple of people that may not be there yet. But however, most of us on this session, we're on a little on the mature side, right? Y'all get what I'm saying? We're on a little on the mature side. And even being on the mature side, we still don't understand what our purpose is. Because how many times in life do people do you ever evaluate what your purpose is? Most of us can't figure out what our purpose is because we have children, right? And just like I told y'all earlier, my my clear objective was not to go back to West Baltimore and raise my kids better than I was raised. In that space of having children, we get so consumed with our children. We get so consumed about our spouse, our significant other. We get so consumed about providing for everybody else and taking care of everybody else that we never take care of ourselves. And in that space, we don't understand our purpose. We don't really know what really makes us happy because we spend so much time making other people happy. So this exercise for you right now, when you talk about purpose, is, find your passion, find out what's meaningful to you and start living that passion. And then here's the key, make the people in your life start living your passion with you, instead of you always living your passion, their passion with them. Because at the end of it, and maybe I'm just the only one, maybe it's just me, right? So many of us wake up in our 40s and then we try to figure out what the hell has happened to us in our life because we don't even know ourselves. We don't know ourselves because our kids are gone. Maybe we've gone through a divorce. Maybe that significant other ain't as significant as they used to be. Whatever it is. And then we look at ourselves and we say, well, what about me? And we look to start trying to find ourselves at 40. But you know what? At 40, you teetering on that space of, do you have more years in front of you than you do behind you? There's you right there. And you have 40, and when you hit 40 and beyond, mortality becomes a real big issue in your subconscious mind because you know that you can't do what you used to do when you were 35. Y'all know what I'm talking about? And so now you start looking for yourself. What I'm saying to our less mature folks, don't wait till you turn 40, 45 to start looking for yourself. Find yourself now so you can live a better life and be more on purpose now. So that when you turn 45 and 50 and 60 and 78, 75, toddy-tie, then you can live a better life and feel better about your life. And you can feel like you have lived a life that's fulfilling. That's a different conversation, gang. That's a different conversation. And when we start talking about living a purposeful life and being purposeful and what's your purpose, we got to figure this thing out sooner rather than later. And not enough of us do. And not of us live a fulfilling life at 50 and beyond. I'm going to give y'all a story real quick. I just got back last night, actually today, because it was after 12 o'clock. I took a vacation, 6 days. I was in Mexico. And I thought before I went there, I said, you know what? When I go there, I'm gonna go get on the ATV. I'm gonna go get on the sea doer. I'm gonna go get on, I'm gonna go get on the yacht. I'm gonna do all these other things. Y'all know what I did? Not a damn thing. I relaxed. I walked the city. I ate good food. I went to the pool. I went to the beach. I did not do not one of those exercises. And you know what? I came back refreshed, revived, and I feel great. So, we got to really look at these things and figure out, what's our purpose and what makes us happy in life. And we got to figure that out early. I didn't need to go get on it. I didn't know to go take the private yacht. I didn't need to do none of that. All I had to do was just be, not have a schedule, just be. And I was happy just being and eating good food. You get it? Right? It was me and my wife. It was just no schedule, no nothing. We just didn't do nothing. It's been a long time since I've just done nothing when I've gone on vacation. No itinerary, just walk around and said no a whole lot. No, thank you. No. So, but again, what is your purpose? We have to be aligned. Toddy tie. See, I'm going to age wisdom right here.
All right, I'm here, man.
Between him and Ron on this call, Age Wisdom, Toddy Ty, you know, in your space, right? And where you are in your life. Do you
Right.
believe that you've lived a fulfilling life?
I think so, considering. I mean, because I come a long ways from out of D.C. and, being raised and born there and coming up, going into the military, getting in law enforcement for 37 years. And
Mhm.
I didn't get into, real estate until in about the early 90s is when I got in. But I
How,
think,
how old were you? How old were you back then, Toddy Ty?
well, you got to figure that you do the math. I'm 76 now. So you figure 1990, how long ago was that?
Okay, that's 31 years.
That's a long time.
That's
And
45. You were 45. You was a sharp 45 too. You was
oh
tipping
yeah,
and stepping. You still tipping and stepping.
yeah. Just only thing about it is this whole prostate stuff that kind of slowed me down, but I'm still in a positive mood, and I ain't giving up.
Right.
Too many people give up, but a lot of times, even in life, somebody has to pick out and say, well, you ought to think about this or you ought to think about that, because I've done that to people. Say, hey man, you ever thought about real estate? No, I never thought about it. Oh, yes, I have. I said, you're not too old. I said,
Right.
or some other profession. I said, but don't just life go by on you. Leave something behind for your heirs. I mean, because like you say, you went down, took a little trip with Robin. Y'all had a nice time. My daughter went down there on the 27th of May for her birthday, and she talking about going again next year. I said, well, I'll be with you then. She liked it just that well, Mexico,
Right.
and so you gotta do what sometimes what makes you happy. Not that you're not open for suggestions. That's how I look at it.
Okay.
I mean,
And I
you gotta. Okay, go ahead.
and I wanted to pull something from you because we were talking about that and talking about that thing about purpose. And I've watched you for 17, 16 years. And and then I'm being transparent here to everybody. I keep saying that, don't I? Listen, if I'm talking, I'm being transparent. So I don't have to say I'm being transparent no more. All right? I know y'all tired of me here, and so I'm saying I'm transparent. But I've been watching you, Toddy Ty, and you've just been an inspiration for me because you move in a purposeful way and you move the way that you have decided to move in your life. And that's always been inspiring to me.
Right.
And I've always said, and I watched you from your 60s, I watched you into your 70s. And I said, damn, when I get this age, I want to be that sharp. I want to be on point just like Toddy Ty. And that's part of the reason why I dress some of the way that I dress, because again, I've watched you in your purposeful way of doing the things that you do, and I appreciate you. I know y'all didn't get on this call to hear this, but it's one of those things about purpose. And when you watch people who are moving in a purposeful way, it just inspires you different. It inspires you differently. And I've always appreciated your feedback that you've given me. So I just want you to
Yeah.
know that.
Well,
So
I appreciate that.
I'm giving you your roses in front of all these folks.
Well,
And
that's fine. I'd rather have them now when I can smell them. I
and
can't smell them
don't
once I
worry.
go up there.
And don't worry, Holiday and Chris, I ain't gonna start crying, all right?
Yeah, give them their props too.
Yeah,
They
no,
deserve
I'm
them.
gonna do it. So, hey, Corey, what's up? I hear you. I see your hand raised. Was that a hand raise or?
No, I was just clapping for you giving Tyrone his props and whatnot, and just agreeing with what you said.
Yeah, he deserves it. Deserves it. And so when we start talking about that, like we talked about that for that 40 minutes, we talked about just purpose. But let's talk about the real thing, right? And the real thing for us right now, you can have your purpose and you can have your altruistic, you can get all of that stuff. At the end of the day, somebody got to be able to write a check. All right. You can be as altruistic as you want to be. You can give back to the world. You can try your best to be Mother Teresa and then not make any money. That just doesn't work that well for the masses. We got to be able to write a check. So the real question becomes, how are you purposeful in building your business? And it's not the real estate business, it's any business. Because at the end of the day, business is business. And this conversation that we're having, we gotta really talk about this. And one of the things is aligned with something bigger. right? We don't get this in business. When you align with something bigger, it forces you to think bigger. Small minds produce small ideas, which typically produce small results. Bigger minds with bigger ideas produce bigger results. Now, what I'm telling you is this. I am not saying you're mimicking somebody else. I'm not saying you got to copy somebody else. What I'm telling you, what we're saying here is just be associated with something bigger, because, you know, there's two ways you can look at our business: in isolation as part of something bigger. And if you're feeling disconnected from your work, you're likely to work at your business in isolation. Instead, consider what higher power, force, or energy that you can tap into, right, at work to make you feel bigger and other than it's just you. So many of us go inside, right? So many of us go inside and we're working from an inside perspective. Well, when you're working from an inside perspective and you take that place of isolation, the only ideas that you're getting in isolation are your ideas, right? When you step outside and you step outside with something bigger, it gives you a different energy. There's a different force. There's a different thought process. It's almost like in the other session where we were talking about that feedback, right? Where you're getting that feedback, or you're talking to a stranger. Those kinds of things draw energy. It forces you to investigate your reality. That's the truth about it. It forces you to investigate your reality about your business. So again, when you connect to something bigger, not that you're comparing yourself, you're just understanding what your possibilities are. So here we go. I just want to make sure, anybody got any comment on that one? About connecting with something bigger?
I do.
Yeah,
Um,
that's it. I like it.
Can I, Holiday, can I go back a little bit of background, share a little bit of background where we met? If you don't mind.
Corey, that dude been an open book since Corey, that dude been an open book. He's been an open book since he came on here last week.
You know, but okay, so Calidai and I met back in the catering industry.
Okay.
Years ago.
Okay.
1,000 years ago. We have
y'all
mutual
age
friends.
well.
You have no idea. Anyway, so I'm 50, by the way. He's younger than me. But anyway,
y'all got some growing up to do. It's okay.
Hey, thank God I do. Thank God. So anyway, about a little over a year ago, I stopped catering a lot, but I still cater a little bit. So while I have my my real estate license, because I gotta eat, you know, in between these deals and escrows and whatnot. But anyway, the last catering job I did was with Holiday at the hotel he used to work at, that he no longer worked at, but he came back to do a catering gig. It was really deep. And so we're talking, I have this energy, and he's like, what are you doing now? So I said, I'm a realtor. This is what I do. I do this, and this is what I've been doing. And he loved my energy. And that's why he's here, is my point, is because I shared that with him. And I guess he saw my energy and where I was going with it. And he was open to it. I'm grateful that he was open to it. And look where he is. He's about to take over the world.
Uh-oh, watch out. And that's what it's about. You know, we all have to connect to a bigger source, no matter where you are, what you're thinking about. There's something a little bit bigger. There's something just pushes you to extra space. Go ahead, Corey.
The other half of that is he has also pulled me up and held me accountable to be bigger and better and greater. And he's also, he's broadened my horizons and lifted me up too. So I just want to say that.
Okay, cool. And that's what it's really about. It's about, again, what's that bigger source? What's bigger? Big. It didn't say a bigger business. Didn't say somebody with bigger and more money. It just said bigger. The key word is bigger. And so many times we look at bigger money, bigger company. It's not about that. It's really about higher power, more force, more energy, higher inspiration, so that you can get your motivation up. And again, it's all in the part of that purpose. So anybody else want to share about bigger? That's cool. The other part of this is remember why. So we got bigger, we have why. Remember why you do what you do. I don't think enough of us really go back and focus on why we do what we do. And in that space, reflect on why you started business in the first place. Was it to help people live healthier lives? Was it to support your family? You know, jot down your reasons on a piece of paper of why you started this business. Why are you in real estate? Why are you in mortgages? Why are you in insurance? Why do you do what you do? And then once you have a list, refer to it when you're feeling disconnected. Write your 5 reasons on a note card and place it around your workspace. Or get together with some of your business buddies, business pals, and share your whys together. But here's the deal. You know, we have to be constantly reminded. I don't think we have enough notes to ourselves. I don't think we give ourselves enough love notes, right? We've been every holiday, Mother's Day, Father's Day, Christmas, birthdays, anniversary, we give everybody else a card and we tell them how much we love them. How many times do we give ourselves a card, right? To tell ourselves how much we love ourselves and why we do what we do to keep us going, to inspire ourselves. Just something to look at, to reflect on your life and who you are and in your business, right? Write yourself a note of why you're in business, why you do what you do.
Hey, Emerick, can I, it's Roderick, how you doing?
Yes, sir. Let's go, brother. I love it.
I want to share this here because of your comment about we don't send ourselves cards and when we send them out to the community and to the world. So I probably 20 years ago, when I started making a little bit of money, I started treating myself. And it's not, the message here isn't what not the purchase, but it's the process. So I walked into the store and I brought myself a gift.
Okay.
And I asked the rep, I says, can you gift wrap that? And so the rep said, well, you just said this was for you. I said, well, yeah, I'm buying myself a gift. Can you gift wrap that? And so over the past 20 years, when I go to buy myself something, I always get a gift wrap. And so my now wife, we were dating a few years back. And so I would go in the store and I'd buy something. It wasn't, national holiday, birthday, Christmas, it wasn't none of that. But I'd buy something and I'd say, can you gift wrap that? And she looked at me like I was making a big fuss. I says, listen, I'm buying you a gift. It should be gift wrap. And I say that to say, to your point, it's a small thing, but we got to take care of ourselves. And so to your point about the cards, for the past 20 years, if I buy a pair of socks, I want a gift wrap because it's a gift to me, because if I don't take care of me, possibly nobody else would. So I just want to share that with the team here.
Right. And that's huge because we don't do enough self-care. And even though we're talking about your purpose behind your business, well, guess what? You might say, well, what does buying yourself a gift have to do with your business? You are your business. You are your business. And again, right? Again, it's about being happier. And it's the purpose behind why you do what you do.
Quick.
Go ahead, I'm listening.
Oh, okay. It's not in an egotistical way, but to keep me to block out those doubts of coming from where we come from and to keep them, from creeping in my mind. I call it, I get my TO on.
Okay.
Terrell Owens, the ex-football player. I truly make it a point to tell myself 10 times a day, I love me some me.
All right.
I do it at least 10 times a day. Whenever you can't do that, creep up, where you from, y'all, this ain't gonna work for you. I just look in the mirror, I love me some me. I'm on the right track.
And it's just, it's self-talk. It's self-talk. Somebody, if you can't cheer yourself on, you can't accept it. It's how it makes it difficult for you to accept the cheers from other people. But again, reflect on why you started this business in the first place. Was it to help other people? Was it to support your family? Jot down the reasons on a piece of paper. Once you have that list, refer to that list when you're feeling disconnected. Make space for opportunities. It's a lot of times in our business, we don't make space for opportunities. We typically run on a path of the plan, right? I want you to wrap your brain around this. The most successful people are great at plan B. Most of the time, plan A does not work the way that you intended it to work. And so you have to go to plan B. That doesn't mean that you change your goal. You just may have to redirect yourself at the way that you get to the goal, which is plan B. If my goal is to make $1 million and I say I'm gonna make $1 million selling real estate, and selling real estate is not working for me, I may have to go to plan B and I may have to become a mortgage loan officer, right? I may have to go to plan B. I may have to become a flipper. I might have to become an investor. At the end of the day, right? Again, make space for opportunities. What's your plan B sometime? And if you really feel like your business it no longer serves you, guess what? You have to make room for new opportunities. Start exploring things that call to you, that make a connection with people or people or ideas that support you and to help you have a transition from whatever you're doing. And again, there's so many different ways for you to find your purpose in business. There's so many ways to create businesses for yourself. And sometimes real estate might not be for you. And sometimes real estate might be for you. It's just that you're not doing what you're supposed to do and your audio and your video is not matching and you just have to go back to the lab. But at that point, you have to make space for opportunities. What are the other opportunities in real estate that you have not explored? What are the opportunities in your lead generation that you have not explored? What are your other opportunities in client accumulation that you have not explored, right? If you truly feel that if you truly cannot feel, your purpose in your current business, start adding purposes outside of work because you got to find this thing. And that's one thing about us is so many times we start talking about our purpose and our business, maybe a business that you selected doesn't align with your purpose. And once you start finding things that align with your purpose, they will start to work well with you. There's some people that just should not be in certain businesses. They just haven't figured it out yet. And sometimes it may not be that some people don't belong in certain businesses. It may mean that your audio and your video are not matching. You're saying that you want success in this business. However, again, the only place that success comes before work is in the dictionary. You have to be willing to put the work in. And at that point, the question becomes back to the first part of the session, your personal purpose. Is your personal purpose big enough? Is it big enough to push you to the place where you're going to do the things that you have to do in your business to fund your purpose? Just food for thought. No judgment. Number 4, change your words. Some of us can't go to the next level because we're telling ourselves the same story. Some of us, we're not operating our purpose because we keep using the same words. I'm going to tell you guys just like this. For all of the real estate professionals that say, I don't like scripts. The people who don't like scripts are the people who are usually broke. The people who don't like scripts in real estate are typically the people who are broke. The people who don't like scripts in real estate are the people who are not achieving sales at the highest level. People who achieve sales at the highest level in real estate and in any industry, in any business, they have a script. Let me make that clear. They know what to say, when to say it, how to say it, and who to say it to. So change your words. So with that being said, if you're feeling like your business is stagnant, unfulfilling, you know, it may just be a way that you're talking or you're thinking about it. So the question is, you know, what course or what class can you take to alter the way that you're thinking about it or the way that you're talking about your business? It may be a scripts class. Instead of referring to yourself as a real estate agent, it may be a self-talk. Instead of considering yourself as a real estate agent, you might want to look at you might go into alter ego. I'm the real estate wealth consultant, right? Instead of saying I sell homes, you could say I help create lifelong, I help create lifelong memories create lifelong family memories through home ownership, right? Instead of calling yourself a realtor, you could call yourself a wealth ambassador or a family legacy builder. You know, we got to get a little creative in this thing. Did my screen just? We got to get a little creative in this thing, right? We just do, because we're telling ourselves a story, right? And we're playing this tape in our minds about who we are in this business and our purpose behind this business. And the sad part about it is we're getting intoxicated, not the best way, about the business, and it makes it come to a place where it's not as fulfilling or it's less fulfilling, or we're not achieving at the level that we could be achieving because of what we're saying to ourselves, our negative self-talk. Anybody want to chime in on that one? Because that's a big one right there. Because I don't care who you are, how long you've been in this business, at some point you thought about quitting. Either you thought about quitting because you didn't like what was going on, you didn't feel good about what was going on, or you were just tired of dealing with people, you know, and you talked to yourself, you said, you know what, I'm about done with this thing. I could just find something else to do. We've all done it somewhere, and we're talking to ourselves, and then somewhere we don't quit because the other voice said, well, damn, if you don't do this, what else you gonna do that's gonna make you this much money? And we got to be real with ourselves. And so that self-talk works both ways. And so who's ever been in that situation where they really thought that it was time for them to give up this business because it just was not working well enough for them? See, now y'all gonna be quiet, right?
No, I'll be honest too. Yeah, I'm with Kimberly. I think that I'm new. I'm completely new. And Emerick, you know this. I'm like new as new can be, and I'm not even an agent. And there are moments that get frustrating, but this is the best opportunity that I could have in my life in this situation I have right now going on. So yeah, I want to quit, but everybody wants to quit, like you said. That's because to me, it's something I don't know, but doesn't mean I can't learn it.
Okay, cool. Thank you. Who else? Somebody else want to share? If it's two people talking at the same time. Who else want to say something?
Yeah.
Go ahead, Kim.
For me, yeah, there's multiple times that I may want to quit. And for some reason, it always comes back around that it was something that I didn't want to do, that I went on and did it. And then now I'm getting a check back.
Right.
So what I tell myself when I don't want to do something is do the things that you don't want to do so you can get where you want to go.
Okay.
And I have to keep telling myself that. And
well, and that's a great way of looking at it. I've heard it said another way too. I said, I'm willing to do the things today that other people aren't willing to do, so I can do the things tomorrow that other people can't do.
Yeah.
I got the same saying, man. It seems like we cut from the same cloth with our isms, man. And mine is learn to meet hard times with a harder will. If you're willing to spend the next 2 years of your life doing what others won't, you'll spend the rest of your life doing what others can't.
There we go. And so again, we have to change our language. Sometimes you have to go to that place. Sometimes you have to go to your alter ego. I'm going to encourage everybody in this room to develop an alter ego. And the alter ego is that other person that you talk to in yourself that gives you that inspiration to tap into your motivation when you think you should, or you believe you should probably quit, or not do it. The alter ego won't quit. The alter ego will not do it, right? Sometimes you have to go to that place and pull you out of your darkness. And so again, we got to take a look at this thing, right? Remember, the bigger force you're aligned with and your why will help you find your words. And again, what are you connected to? What's changing your language in your space? Anybody else want to comment on that one? The last one, we're going to live your days purposefully. And so, again, this is a business conversation, just so we're clear. Live your days purposely. And what we're really talking about, you just imagine your most powerful self, the not so distant future you, who's clear on his or her mission and aligned with their purpose. Tap into her wisdom or his wisdom and consult him or her when you're feeling misaligned. And that's that alter ego, right? That's that alter ego. When you start talking about being purposeful, let's talk about the alter ego, right? And then that alter ego comes into a couple of places. What services or products would you offer in your alter ego self? What opportunities would you pursue? What kind of people would you surround yourself with? How would you infuse more purpose into your life? How would you explain the work you do? What is your why? What is the bigger force you align with in your business? And so when we start looking at these types of things and we start talking about our alter ego and we start talking about, again, being purposeful. And you can look at it that way because we all go through these moments. We all go through these, I'm gonna call it a weak will moment. That weak will moment when we start talking and when we start talking about how we start doubting ourselves. We're all human. And so when we develop this alter ego, this other person, like we were talking about right here, instead of referring yourself as a real estate agent, you could be a real estate wealth consultant if you're in real estate. Instead of saying that you sell homes, you could say, I create lifelong memories through home ownership, right? Instead of calling yourself a realtor, you could be a wealth ambassador or a family legacy builder. And again, I call it the alter ego. And the reason why I call it the alter ego, because at that point, we're stepping outside of ourselves. And we just have to find that other thing, again, in that purposeful space where we're repurposing our purpose to be more purposeful. Do y'all get that? Does that make sense? You're repurposing your purpose to be more purposeful, right? And when you approach a day as your most powerful self, you bring more meaning to everything you do. You start the evolution process to become that future you who's on a mission to change the world through your work. And so when we start looking at these things and we start looking at that place of being purposeful is really about why do you do what you do? But here's the key part. What's the impact of what you do? And the impact of what you do will ultimately fuel your purpose, because we as humans, we get great satisfaction, right, on the positive results of whatever we're making happen, whatever we're doing, making it happen. That's what fuels us. That's what fuels us. The positive results is what fuels us. Like, and so many times we think we're here for ourselves and we're really here for other people. We seek the approval of other people. As human beings, we seek the approval of other people. It might be your mother, it might be your son, it might be your daughter, it might be your wife, it may be your significant other, it might be your grandson. It's somebody else that you're seeking their approval. And that's what makes the purpose more purposeful, is the results of the outcome of validation in our approval. All right, feedback time. That was deep right there. That was like way deep. So let's get some feedback on that one. Spit it out. Because I know that hit somebody somewhere with that whole alter ego thing.
I mean, you just helped me realize I'm not crazy. Just to be honest with you, because I do that. I actually truly, I mean, like I always tell myself, go get an Oscar.
Right.
Like I'm playing a role. And
Exactly.
I really exit, I mean, almost to the point where that's why I go by Holiday.
Right.
Because my first name is Asheen.
Right.
But Asheen and Holiday is two totally different people.
Right.
So now I know I'm not crazy. I've been, I was wondering sometimes.
No, you're not crazy. We all have to have that alter ego, that other person that, like, sometimes you tell people, oh, you don't want me to go back to who I used to be. I used to tell my kids that. I should tell my kids that. My kids are older now, and this is I'm probably, I hope I don't offend anybody, but I'm gonna say that I used to ask my kids, do you want nice dad or you want evil ass dad? Which one do you want? We want nice dad. Okay. All right. So you get to choose who you want. You get to choose who show up in the way that you act. If you act, the evil dude gonna show up. If you act out, the evil dude gonna show up. You do what you're supposed to do, you'll get nice dad every day of the week. So you choose which one's gonna show up. And I had to go to evil dad because by nature, I am not an evil person. So I had to go to my alter ego to be mean to my kids, or that's to say, not as friendly and not as pleasant, to get them to where I wanted them to be with the shock factor. And that was just my way of dealing with it. And I gave them a choice, but at the end of the day, again, we all have an alter ego somewhere. Veda, what's up? Yeah, I can't hear your mic. How you doing, sir?
There we go. Doing great.
What's up with your
I was out showing.
What's up with your alter ego, man? I know you got one.
I know
it's that dude that comes out that nobody really want to see, because he gonna bring out the other side of the best of you.
Well, there's a few. So if you look on my social media, you see my name is Nevada Yanni Titworth. So everybody from my past, high school and college, know me as Yanni, and we don't want to see him no more, because that's a totally different guy. In business, I am Nevada.
Right.
So and my middle name is Ayan, so that's not on social media anywhere. But if I go to that place, then it's Nevada Ayan, and it's So my disc profile, I am. My innate state is DC.
Right.
So I've kind of changed how I do business, because I don't want them to see big black man, angry guy. So I don't let my D out very much.
Right.
I operate in my C. So my adaptive style is CD. So that's what you typically see is the CD, I every now and then. But if I have to get down through there, then the D comes out.
Okay.
Right. So it's but it's kind of like what y'all been talking about. When you get to that place, when I quit in 2013 and went full time.
Okay.
I went to my team leader and I told him, I said, if I don't make this work within, I think I gave her 6 months, then I'll have to go back and go back to teaching. And she said, no, you don't think like that. No, you think what it's going to take to make this work. And so from then on, I've been thinking, it's not about, me going back if I don't do X, Y, Z. It's about what it's going to take for me to get from this level to the next level. And sometimes I have to employ that D mentality to make sure I get there.
But the alter ego got to come out. The alter ego, when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. And so
Absolutely.
That's that space that we all have to go to. So if you don't have that alter ego to bring you to purposeful, I want you to like bring that name, bring that alter ego out, whatever it is, name it something, call it something, because you have to do a state, you have to do what's called a state change. You have to change your state. You got to shock yourself. And that's what happens to so many of us. We don't go to that purposeful place because we want people to see us as who we are. And it's not about the way that people see who you are, it's who you show up as, right? It's who are you showing up as? Not the way people see you, is who you show up as. And sometimes when you go to that purposeful space, you just got to show up as somebody different. You have to be on point. You have to be purposeful, and you have to be intentional in your actions. And that's what we were talking about last week, is about being intentional. And so next week, we're going to really talk about, we're going to talk about when intentional meets purposeful. When intention meets purposeful, because that's huge. That is huge right there. That's when the magic happens, right? Because we can intentionally do all kinds of things, right? I can intentionally, come to California. But if I'm not coming to California with a purpose, I just came to California, to be honest with you. And I'm just hanging out for a little while. I'm just going to Austin and hanging out for a little while. I'm intentional about getting there, but am I purposeful about my actions when I get there? And that's what we're going to be talking about next week, when intentions be purposeful.
So, Emerick.
Yes, ma'am.
When you said that, I hate to say, I went straight to GPS and 411. And Nicole, you need to get your 411 done. That's what I got when you said it. When intention,
right?
Purpose.
Mm-hmm.
Bottom line.
And I like that. And I say this, and I don't know where, it's a saying said, the road to hell is paved with good intentions, right? The whole bunch of people had a whole lot of good intentions, and intentionality is not going to get you to your final destination. Purposeful and purpose is your destination. Just like I wrote in the Facebook post today, purpose is your destination. So we can have a whole lot of intention, but we don't put any purpose behind the intention. We really just out for a long walk, gang. And so next week, like I said, we're going to talk about when intention be purposeful, and, wrapping this thing up for today. There's 5 things I wanted to mention here about being purposeful with your with your business. The first one is bigger, right? Connect yourself to something bigger. Connect yourself to your why. Make space for opportunities, right? Change is not necessarily a bad thing. And then purposefully pursuing your goals, your ideas, your business, and in your purposeful pursuit, you probably going to have to develop an alter ego to help push you to that next level. Because your internal will is not always going to do it. It's going to have to take something outside of you that's already inside of you. Did you hear what I said? It's going to take something outside of you that's already inside of you. And we just had to figure out how to tap into that other thing that's inside of us. And usually it's the alter ego. And I'm calling it the alter ego only because we're just redirecting what we call ourselves. We're redirecting how we address ourselves. We're changing our language. Remember we talked about that? We're changing our words. What's some feedback on this thing today? What's some feedback on today? Because I'm curious.
Can I ask you a question, Emerick?
Yes, sir.
What is your why?
What is my why? Ooh, my why is I want to help 1,000 people figure out how to make $300,000 a year. Now, those 1,000 people, right? I love everybody. I just happen to love Black people more. I would love that it's 1,000 Black people that I help to make 300,000, figure out how to make $300,000 a year. That is my prayer. Did I answer your question? That's
Yes,
the
sir.
reason. That's the reason why I'm on session since last March. That's the reason why I'm on session 64, 65. I've only missed 3 Thursdays since last March.
That's awesome.
That's not true. 4. That's not true. I missed 4 sessions since last March. And the truth is, there was a couple of times I wasn't even supposed to have a session. However, I just dialed in at 4:30 because I figured somebody probably would show up, and it was like 5 people sitting there waiting, even though I said I wasn't gonna have the session. Hell, I did the session anyway, because if it's 5 people in the room, if it's 1 people in the room, it's 100 people in the room. Remember that thing I said earlier about being 2 degrees? If I can change one person's life by 2 degrees, they will end up in Japan instead of China. And I'm passionate about it.
So, Emerick,
Yes,
that's your big why right now.
yes.
Rewind back to when you first started. What was your first big why? Because you know we have different pit stops, and
Yep.
you still think back up.
My first big why was to raise happy, healthy, well-adjusted adult children who did not have to live in West Baltimore, who would live a better life than I lived. And I would be able to provide a comfortable lifestyle for them no matter what.
That's the biggest thing I took from this, was that I think your purpose and your whys are going to change as you pivot to different places in your life. I thought about when you were talking about, I think that was your grandma who has now found her purpose in taking care of everybody. You know, where she probably worked the job and did what she had to do, and she found her purpose through that process. So I just think that it shifts, and that each purpose develops a new challenge and a new way. And it creates all of these things, the bigger, the wide, the space, the change with each new purpose.
And really, to be honest with you, if your purpose is your purpose, it's really not supposed to change theoretically. However, if you are a little younger in tooth, i.e. in age, and we ignore this, but every phase of our life, we change as humans, and we look at everything different. When you're 20, when you're in your 20s, you look at life one way. When you're in your 30s, you look at life a little different. You're thinking about some more stable and secure activities. When you're in your 40s, you're a little more settled. And as you get in your late 40s, mortality, the idea of mortality started to kick in, and then your life really changes about what your purpose is, because now you start looking at the clock and you're looking at the mirror saying, I got more life in behind me than I do in front of me. And so your mortality started to kick in, and then you really started to change the way you look at things. And then by the time you get 50, you really stop giving a damn about a whole lot of things, because you understand that none of the stuff that you worried about for the previous 50 years really mattered, because you getting closer to the grave. I'm just real. And so you getting closer to the grave, and you understand that you ain't got much time to waste. And I can't say what happened at 60, but what I can tell you is I do know that at 56, I have a long list of things that I will no longer consider, tolerate, or put up with, because the older you get, the more stuff you know what you're not going to do and what you're not going to accept in your life. And so with all of that, yeah, your purpose does change. Your purpose changes, and the way that you think about life changes. So, Tiffany, you on point with that. It's not your purpose is supposed to be your purpose. Well, however, we as humans, we are evolving, and we look at things differently through each decade of our life. So it's going to change. It's going to change.
It takes it back to science. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut
Go
you
ahead.
off.
No, go ahead. No, you good, bro.
No, I was just piggybacking off of what you said and take it back to what science believes, or what, most scientists say. Every living thing must grow. And with growth comes change. And without growth and change, you will surely die.
Well, let's be clear. You're gonna die anyway.
Right.
Change is inevitable. Growth is an option. Change is inevitable. Growth is an option. And so when you decide that you're gonna grow, right, your purpose is probably gonna change. Because the things that were big before, they're no longer big anymore for whatever reason. Because you've grown beyond, your mind has grown beyond what you thought your possibilities were at that particular time. And that's what growth will do for you. So again, intentionality, intention, and purpose. Where do they meet? That's our next conversation. Because we got to crack the code, gang. If you're not at that place where you're making, and I'm talking about money. If you're not at that place where you're making on average $300,000 a year, my question is, why not? You deserve it. Holiday, we got to change it to 500 for you. You in Southern California.
Man, I'm super excited. I got my first listing appointment tomorrow.
Oh, congratulations.
That's why I'm beaming today, man, because, I'm super psyched, man. So
good. Okay.
Beginning first of many.
You know what? It's not where you start, it's where you end up. The point is, you got to start. If you can't begin the journey if you don't take the first step. So congratulations. So yeah, but that's it today, gang. Was this a good session?
Beautiful.
Kim, did you get something?
To quote the great Eddie Murphy, beautiful, Lil.
Yeah, this is great.
Neva, I didn't hear from you today. Neva, you okay over there?
Yeah, if I have to be perfectly honest, I just got some news that my technically not was-been, is in the ICU, so I had to step away for a minute.
Oh, so, that's unfortunate. Sending prayers up for you. Chris, did you get something good today?
Yeah, and real men can cry.
I know. I got it.
Don't cry in the car.
Don't cry in the car.
I enjoyed the session. Thank you very much. This is my first one and I will not be missing them. Thank you.
Okay. Well, we're going to keep bringing it. We're going to keep sharing. Bring somebody else with you. And like I said, next week, we're going to really talk about when intentions and purpose meet, when intentionality and purpose meets each other. Where are we? What happens? What's the magic that happens in that? Because so many times we all have intention to do something. And if we're not being purposeful with our intentions, what are we really doing? And I said it earlier, the road to hell is paved with good intentions. So we don't need more good intentions. We got to put some, we got to be purposeful behind that and make sure that we meet our goal. We set our goals, we meet our goals, we crush our goals, and we take our lives to the next level.
The Power is Now Media is worldwide with growing audience of future homebuyers, investors, builders, developers, real estate agents, and brokers. The Power is Now Media is well positioned to increase awareness and produce results for our growing roster of advertising partners. An advertisement on any of our platforms is the right step toward reaching and communicating key brand messages to a targeted network of individuals, families, and communities interested in housing. Our content areas include feature stories and profiles on successful real estate agents, business owners, government, and community leaders. The Power is Now magazines are the leading resource for real estate agents, mortgage bankers, entrepreneurs, and small home ownership businesses, providing leaders with business strategy information, resources, and tools through PIN, Real Estate, and Programming Guide magazines. Stay up to the minute with real estate and mortgage news and information from industry experts. VIP agents are able to feature listings each week. The Power is Now TV radio podcast features weekly shows that include Homebuyers Town Hall, Real Estate Roundtable, VIP Agent Spotlight, and so much more. Each week, VIP agents have opportunities to be featured guests on the shows. VIP agents can discuss and showcase houses, neighborhoods, and provide brief introductions. The interviews are unlimited 10 to 15 minutes on each current listing. This product alone separates you from your competition. The Power is Now delivers to you Market Update interview to promote listing weekly, promotional biographical video, co-host a bi-monthly Homebuyers Town Hall show, featured subject matter expert on Real Estate Roundtable show. The Power is Now Program Guide e-magazine. The Power is Now National e-magazine. Article writing and blogging. Social media content customization. Inclusion and press releases. Graphic design services. Business and performance coaching. Technology support. Referrals. Lead generation opportunities and management support.